B-Souls dropped a video the other day based off of a tweet that I made. Sage put out a tweet. I want to really break down the math and the science as to what's going on here. I'm about to break the fourth wall. I'm really about to break the fourth wall. Let me show y'all when I put that tweet out about the podcast. Holy shit, I'm really tapped in to what's going on in the community. I might not say something all the time. I might not act on it all the time, but I know what's going on. So I put this tweet out. This tweet is on October 16th at 11:55. Now, if I'm not mistaken, chat, that's a Monday. That is post-pod. That is post-pod. I'm going to share some stuff with you guys that I'm not going to lie. I might get flack for sharing, but this is the only place where you can get shared this information. This is what I really want to show y'all. This is views. You feel what I'm saying? This is all of 2023. You can see that from right here, January 1 to October 19th. That's views. That's watch time hours. That's subscribers. I appreciate whoever just subbed. That's views. That's watch time hours. That's subscribers, right? If I go to 2022, look at that. Views, watch time hours, subscribers. That's a huge difference. Yeah. That's a huge difference. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Impressions are right there. 161 mil. Let's go 2023. 128 mil. And that right there is my problem. We're on pace to do the same amount of impressions. Everything else is down. So when I say, let's keep it a buck, is not doing well, it's from a different perspective than a lot of people would see it as and say it as. I'm giving y'all a lot right now. 161, that's 40 million impressions different. That's a hell of a lot of subscribers different. That's a lot of watch time hours different. And that's a lot of views different. So what I'm looking at is an issue. I don't know what the issue is, though. We can chalk a lot of 2022 up to shorts. We can chalk a lot of 2022 up to shorts. However, that many impressions, that many people seeing us, but not clicking us, staying with us, subscribing to us, all that stuff, that's a problem. That's an issue. I posed this question not about what's currently going on with the podcast. That was a theme that I saw throughout the discourse, whether it be on, B-Souls' stream, Sage's stream, when I saw, the comments on the podcast from last night. I don't give a fuck about the current state of the podcast. I know that sounds crazy. Listen to what I'm saying. We're at a certain level, and we're appealing enough to maintain a certain level. The question is, how do you grow? I work a job. I make $50,000 a year. I have the method to make $50,000 a year. I don't need too much insight as to how to make $50,000 a year. I have that already. I need to know how to get to $70,000 a year, $80,000 a year, $100,000 a year. I've been bench pressing 135. I have the method to continue to bench press 135. I need to know how to get from here to here. Not how to stay here. A lot of the advice is how to stay here. But it's not about how to reach out there. And that's where I think a fundamental flaw is. Oh, that's crazy. Tell me if it's echo. That's crazy.
Through YouTube Shorts, shout out to YouTube Shorts. It definitely wasn't that. But we've been like hard. It's like, I don't even want to make a Valorant, reference. But we just can't rank up. We have been stuck at Plat 2 for the longest time. Okay. We've been stuck at 200K for it feels like a year. Internally we've had these conversations as well as yo, what can we do to step up? What does Let's Keep It a Buck need to do to go from 200K to 300K? What does Let's Keep It a Buck need to do to go from 200K to 400K? Because I feel like right now, we love the community that we have. We love the fact that we can talk about whatever on the podcast at this point, really. And there's still going to be 650 people showing up. Love the fact that we had a floor of, 1,100 to 1,200. We switched over to a whole nother platform, and we could still put 700, 800 on another fucking platform. Shout out to Twitch. Shout out to the Twitch family. You see what I'm saying?
This nigga B Souls is chatting. I might have to put him on time.
Like, we
too.
love that about the break.
This nigga's chatting right now. Get into it. Get into why you think it is B Souls, because I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong.
And we love the community, but I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like, we just haven't seen like a lot of new faces in the community, and I'm gonna also keep it a stack. I feel like we've seen in the community, we've already seen more people phase out and leave the community than new faces in this last couple of years. Because for those who are just joining the community, I swear to God, bro, this Discord right here, and I'm just making sure anyone, this Discord right here, bro, like, I kid you not, a year ago, bro, this Discord every single day, there'd be 15 motherfuckers in this VC, bro, just vibing out, just vibing. Every single day, just whatever the fuck.
It's time for me to break down the fourth wall. As far as I understand, through all my research, through my remembrance of the situation, Damo ruined the Discord. Damo ruined the Discord. So, and again, I'm really getting into it. From my understanding, not from my understanding, we had things that we were supposed to be doing with the responsibilities of the podcast. Damo took over responsibility of the Discord. Now, there were situations in which all of us started to phase out more. I phased out because people were starting to bring Discord conversations onto the timeline. 100%. I can wholeheartedly admit that. But I was still in and out of there. But there became one big situation. I don't know how it started, don't know how it got to there, but there would be people coming to other members saying that, hey, the Discord is a toxic environment. The Discord is a toxic environment. I don't want to be in there. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's conducive. It's making me want to move away from the community. We would bring it up in meetings. And every single time, the situation was always overblown. It was, hey, come on, they're tweaking it. It isn't like that, or whatever the case may be. Now, granted, we would have conversations with people, and at times elaboration was not there. However, it became a theme. And once it started to become a theme, I sat back a little bit more. I sat back just a little bit more. I said, because you got to watch sometimes. So then it starts to get to a point where it's extremely out of control. Lawless. Mods are going crazy. Bullying is going crazy. A lot of stuff is just going crazy in the Discord. And so this is the way that it's been told to me. From that point, when it became so hectic that even the toxic people didn't want to be in there because it was so toxic and there wasn't a conversation being had and people were jumping on top of people, et cetera, people felt as if it was time to create an entirely new Discord. People felt that it was time to create an entirely new Discord. Hey, we need to get a handle of it over here. Fine, I can't do what I want to do over here. I'm going to create a whole new Discord. If somebody stops me, that's wrong. But from my understanding, the Discord, the main players fractured and they started their own thing. Just to do the same things they would have did in the other Discord. Now, you leave a mess here, don't clean it up, start something somewhere else new, and now we have what we have now. What B Souls is saying is true. The old Discord used to have people in VCs all the time, 24/7. Hanging out, three people, 4 people, 2 peoples, solos, all that stuff. Now it's not popping like it used to. I think it's still great. I think it's still cool. When we go do our movie nights, when we do our game nights, et cetera, that's great. I think that is a problem though. Because the Discord is a central place for the community to meet. If the community doesn't have a central place to meet, there's an issue.
What was going on? We would just keep up with each other. But now, like, the Discord, like, you know, it gets active on certain events, but this used to be a place where people used to chill. People used to talk to each other independent of events, independent of, yo, B Souls is in a VC, let's join it. Independent of, yo, Omar's doing a stage, let's join it. There'll be like 5, 6 motherfuckers that would just be in here, just chilling with friends that they made in the community. And over the last year, like, that's been dead, to be honest with you. And again, with growth, we have just, keep it a buck, Double entendre. We plateaued, bro. We plateaued.
I think part of the problem is back end involvement. And then I also think part of the problem is solo content creation. Yeah, back end involvement, which leads to on cam involvement, and then also solo content creation. I think solo content creation would solve a lot of these problems and a lot of these issues. Looking at other groups that have had major success, and it usually took one or two people shooting off to the moon, and now they're in a different stratosphere. I think AMP's takeoff coincided with Kai Cenat's takeoff. Not saying that AMP didn't have success before, but also that Kai Cenat, his ascension boosted the group's ascension as well. I believe when Agent did his solo content stuff, that also helped. When Duke was doing his solo content stuff, he's doing his solo content stuff, that also helped. I think all these things would help. So on our side, if we doubled and tripled down on our solo content creation, it would help with the main channel. How do you balance two channels and everything else you got going on? I don't know. Other people have been able to figure it out. It's a hard thing to do. It's tough, right? It's tough. But like we discussed last night, Damo, step it up. Sage. And I think if Sage does that, I swear, if he does that month of like anime only, I swear it'll go crazy. Consistent anime only, oh my God. It'll go to another, like his channel will go to another height. His channel will go to another height. It'll be super crazy. But we all have to step it up. Even in my step it up, I feel as if I have to step it up some more.
You know, with the brand that I built on here, there's this expectation that, yo, I'm talking about basketball, which I do, because I genuinely am interested about basketball.
Got it.
But it's also like, okay, for the people who come in for basketball, when I switch over to talking about this shit, when I switch to talking about, creative shit, when I switch to talking about music shit, it's like...
He's beating around the bush. There is no podcast like Let's Keep It a Buck. And not because, we've reached all these heights or whatever. Literally, we just do different shit. Like, legitimately, we just do different stuff than what everybody else does. We just do different. There isn't a brand identity. I agree with what B Souls is saying there. There's zero disagreement. Zero disagreement at all. But at the end of the day, that is hard for new audiences to find. It's hard for new audiences to find. YouTube is an algorithm. What is that check mark over there? YouTube has an algorithm-based system, right? Where they serve videos based off of the information that you give it as a viewer. If we are trying to serve videos to target a specific audience, being all over the place doesn't help YouTube's algorithm present us in front of different people, new people. Because even in this screenshot that we have right here, Blueface Krishan Rock is different than Annoying TV, Sniper Wolf, Bruce Drop 'Em Off, and Annoying might be in the same vein. Boxing is in a different vein. Even though it's closely adjacent, these things are adjacent, but they're different lanes. And I know that there are grassroots ways of catering and finding new people in the communities. I know there are. However, that's a lot of work, and there's a better way to skin a cat. I can't sit on spaces for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, even though some days I might do it. I can't do that every single day with the hopes of getting 200 people, with the hopes of, telling them to come to the podcast. That's door-to-door selling. That's not an effective way to do this.
I'm going to tell you on the back end, too, exactly what the fuck happens.
Here we go. This is what
we go into a podcast. Yo, which one's the harder topic? Celebrity shit or basketball, right? Celebrity shit or basketball? What's the main topic? Whichever one is harder, that's what we go with. And it works on the short term, but I think right now we're seeing the problems of it long term in the brand building aspect of it. Because I feel like, again, Let's Keep It a Buck has no identity right now. When you search up Let's Keep It a Buck, and the reason why...
And I'll even go one step further. I'll break the fourth wall again, because B-Souls likes to tiptoe. But y'all didn't come here for me to tiptoe. So when we go into a podcast, it's Thursday, right? What happens is, it's Thursday. From the end of the pod Thursday till Monday, we have the ability to collect topics, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be funneling stuff into Twitter that we like to watch, or that we think is funny, or that we think should be talked about, or should be interacted with, etc., etc. But the problem is, everyone isn't a participant in that. And so when you see that those comments of, oh, so and so looks disinterested, so and so looks under research, so and so looks like they don't care, that's because, keep it 100, that's 1,000% true. And I think that we do a bad job in this regard of creating content. I say lie for lack of a better word when I have this conversation, but dog, sometimes you just gotta fake like you care. Fake like you have an opinion. You have to create the content. Whether you like him or whether you don't like him, I've seen times where Kai will open up something that is supposed to entice or incite an excited response, and him be completely over the top, right? Him be, oh my God, Nicki Minaj, whoa, and is yelling and is screaming. But that's creating content. That's creating content. And I think people would have a problem if we all approached the podcast this way. So since we talked about it last night, that is a problem with Sage. That is a problem with B-Souls. Is that when it comes time to put on for content, then it does not matter. And the problem that I'm going to have going forward anyway, is if that continues to persist, no matter what we're talking about, if you don't specifically care, then you will have a different outlook and attitude on the conversation. Go back and look at pods when we talk about basketball, since y'all want us to talk about basketball so much. Go back and look at the times where I've tried to bring up Atlanta Hawks conversations, and look how they've gone. Yes. Go back and look at times when I've brought up Atlanta Hawks conversations and watch how quickly we pivot off of those conversations, as opposed to when we talk about Celtics conversations, as opposed to when we talk about Lakers conversations. I know what niggas is gonna say. Hawks are losers. Nobody gives a fuck about the Hawks, etc., etc. But at that point, we would be like ESPN, and we try to get away from being ESPN, right? That's the whole point. Yo, let's talk about what we care to talk about. Fuck it. We'll do the Celtics. We'll do the Lakers. We'll do the Lakers. We'll do the Celtics. We can talk about a couple of their rivals, but if we're only talking about big name teams, fuck it. We might as well just be ESPN at that point. What we're doing is a job. I took away the metric for the money because, you know, that's the money. The monetary aspect isn't y'all's business. But what we do is a job. This doesn't generate us a small amount of money. It just doesn't. I hate to be that guy. It does not. With that being said, as a part of your job, if it is to research, understand, have a better standing point, launching point, than just, okay, Omar's going to read this, and then I'm going to try to muster up a reaction as much as I can, or an opinion, or whatever. It's crazy. Because if I sat there all the time and was like, fuck the Lakers, I don't care, I don't watch the Lakers, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch the Lakers enough for me to be out this. I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch the Celtics enough for me to be a part of this conversation. I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch these teams enough to be a part of this conversation. If I did that every single time, I know what type of comments I would get. I know what type of hate I would get. I know what type of things I would get all the time. It's the sacrifice that you make when you do a group channel. It just is what it is. Sometimes you have to do things that you do not like. It's just some shit you have to do that you don't like. I'm not saying fake everything. It's just some shit that you got to do that you don't like. So I would hate to, when we do some more basketball conversations in the upcoming season, if I started saying, I don't care about the Celtics. I didn't watch the game. I didn't care to watch the game. It doesn't matter to me. I don't like the Lakers. That I didn't watch the game. I don't know what's going on. That doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter to me. That would be that's terrible. That's a terrible way to go about this.
If it's just about what is going to grow the podcast the most, what is going to take us to the next level, the answer has been in front of us the whole fucking time. The answer has been in front of us the whole fucking time. It's basketball. Sorry. And if any of my co-hosts are watching this, I'm going to just keep it a bean. The answer has been basketball the whole time. We all met through basketball. We all keep up with basketball. So those forced conversations motherfuckers don't want to have, motherfuckers, for the most part, genuinely want to have these conversations, or at least have something to contribute. You know what I'm saying? There's certain topics.
And this is where I have to call out B-Souls. This is where I have to call out B-Souls. It is what it is at this point. This is where I have to call out B-Souls. I swear I get this rap painted about me, and this is like one of the most nasty narratives. The other stuff I really don't care about. But this rap specifically about me, and he won't say it. I don't think he'll say it here and won't harp on it here, because that's the main thing, is harping on it, as opposed to, I'm going to say it and then just move on, is that we were all burnt out collectively on basketball. At the time that we made this decision, we were doing Locker Room. We were doing Let's Keep It a Buck. People had their own personal channels in which they talked about basketball. The style of basketball content that B-Souls was creating was changing as well. He didn't want to do it anymore. Same thing with TSO Sage. And hell, there's even NBA creators right now that ask B-Souls, hey, can I get, and I can get to it, B-Souls, hey, I want to talk to you because I'm getting burnt out on this specific thing. So again, this is a collective effort. What happens in this conversation, though, is, Omar doesn't want to talk about basketball. I promise y'all, I don't give a fuck about what we talk about. I will do my job. I will get us to the end goal with what I can contribute. From what I got from that conversation last night, what B-Souls just said, and honestly, just the general overall sentiment, is that niggas is not on that type of time. Niggas is not on that type of time. I like basketball. I genuinely do. I think most people know, though, that I'm not about to sit here and watch all these games, et cetera, and analyze basketball to the death of me, et cetera, when I don't have to. Now, when I have to, I will. I'll talk about the teams that I don't care about. I don't give a fuck about the Boston Celtics. I honestly don't give a fuck about the Lakers, to be honest with you. I want to know about how LeBron does, because I'm a big LeBron fan. Lakers, I really don't give a fuck about. I'll tap in. I'll tune in. I'll have those conversations, because I know that's what other people care about. I know that's what will continue to drive the content. Just like when there's other conversations, when we currently do current events and hot topics and stuff like that, I don't care about some of that stuff, but I'm going to read up on it. Why? Because I know that that's what's going to push the conversation forward. However, and niggas about to say it, hey, as a member, I'm only going to contribute but so much, because honestly, I don't care about, I don't care about this stuff. I'm just going to punt on it. And if that's a bad understanding as to what's being said, what the general sentiment is, what's been going on for the past year, et cetera, somebody correct me. But niggas saying to contribute, you contribute based off of research. What was the shit when we did the Bruce research? For those that are begging about basketball, scrolling on my TL today, I run into this specific video, and this is what y'all want, because again, I'm gonna break down the fourth wall here, and I'm not even on their platform. Y'all want this right here.
Is Luka the best player on this team?
Is he?
Production-wise. I didn't ask you that.
And I want you to know, Gil sat there and waited, and he was like, man, all right, if this is where we going, let me go ahead and just spin it up and stir it up. Let me just go ahead and spin it up and stir it up. How can I do this? And now we're about to get into some bullshit to drag out a segment to make sure that we're covering basketball. And I seen a lot of that this offseason. A lot of shit that, honestly, we made fun of not too long ago. I have something that I'm going to do with the VODs. That we made fun of not too long ago. List, rankings. That's a lot of what people do during the offseason when it comes to basketball. And we can always get more and more creative, but eventually you get to this. You get to this.
Enough said. But in MVP, he's the fourth best player in the NBA compared to the bullshit list from the other day. He in the MVP conversation, and in my opinion, I don't think he's the best player on this basketball team. But that's for another, never mind. Move on.
We ain't got to get into it, right?
Just sip my tea.
We ain't got to get into it, right? Just
Ooh, this is
Okay, so who's the best player on the Mavs if Luka's not?
Hey, I know one. Put it like this. You know, when people be talking about one-on-one, I know if you ask Dinwiddie who's the best one-on-one player there, I guarantee it won't be who they think it is. Won't be Luka. You know what I'm saying? Guarantee you line them up, let them play ones.
Oh, he couldn't be. Dinwiddie said, "Oh, he got mopped every time."
Yeah, every time, dog. And you line him up against Kyrie, it'll be listen. He might don't touch the ball. If you give Kyrie the ball first, Luka won't touch the ball.
11-0?
Hey, Luka can't guard this goddamn camera stand.
Is this what y'all want? Like, I'm trying to be 100%. Like, I'm trying to give y'all something. Is that what y'all want? Is that what y'all want? Like, out of the basketball conversation, discourse, or whatever. Did y'all want Team USA basketball? We talked about Team USA basketball a little bit on the pod. And mind you, I think another thing that's also interesting is, free range to talk about whatever you want on the pod. I might have groaned a little bit, but even when niggas was talking about Team USA, world champions, all time, all this stuff, we're going to make it entertaining. I thought it was funny when Damo said, what's the, let's do an all-time draft. When Damo was like, let's do an all-time draft. Okay, cool. Let's do an all-time draft. I was groaning and moaning at first, like, are you serious? Everybody was. We did the all-time draft, did an all-time podcast team. Good little segment. Still gonna make content out of it. But do we want to get to the point where we're doing things like that? That's what off-season basketball conversations look like. So I wanna address those Omar's Gotta Go crowd people. I gotta address those Omar's Gotta Go crowd people. First of all, you're fucking stupid. No ifs, ands, buts about it. I've asked the question why plenty of times. And if you disagree with a take of mine, that's one thing. I would think that you disagree with a take or two from a lot of people on the podcast. If you're just agreeable like that, then hey, you found your favorite member. You found your guy. I get that. I'm not even taking that away from you. You found a guy that you like on the podcast, that you rock with consistently, and you listen to his takes more than anybody because you agree with them. That's great. But because you don't agree with a take or two does not mean that I should just go from the podcast so you can get somebody that's more agreeable. I got to address this. I'm going to continue to address this time and time again. You guys would hate an agreeable podcast. It's the worst thing ever. Nobody challenging anybody on anything. That's a lot of commentary that I got too. Hey, a lot of the times it's just a disagreement. A lot of the times it's just an agree fest. My bad. It's an agree fest. How do you feel about the Dame trade? I feel like it makes the Bucks the best in the East. All right, all four of us agree. We'll move on. How do you feel about the Jada situation? Jada's wrong. Will is a peon. Okay, we move on. How do you feel about the Bruce situation? Yeah, Bruce is wrong. Not too much on Kai. If we all four say that, first of all, the podcast would be 20 minutes. The podcast would be 20 minutes. Second of all, nobody's challenging anybody's thought process, thinking, taking a different stance. That's one. Two, I don't know why y'all don't think I believe this stuff. I believe this stuff. Look at Adam West. Sounds like the Andrew Schultz podcast. Yeah. There's podcasts out there, and you know what's crazy? I don't listen to those podcasts. I genuinely don't listen to those podcasts for that exact reason right there. When you start to yes, I agree. That's not a good conversation. That's not a good conversation. It's a really terrible conversation, to be honest with you. I promise you. The next part of that conversation is people think that I'm making up takes. I'm not making these things up. Just because, again, you don't agree with it, I believe them and I agree. And I'll stand 10 toes on that. Just because you don't agree that transgender athletes should compete in the sport for the gender that they identify in, I don't know why you don't think that I believe that in real life. I believe that stuff. I believe a lot of stuff that you may not agree with. It's okay to disagree, but to lie and he's take hunting. I'm not. I believe this stuff. I truly believe this stuff. When I say we need to lie, it's not necessarily about me. I think I have a lot of polarizing takes. I think I have a lot of polarizing takes. I think I can be pretty hyperbolic and have polarizing takes that I truly, genuinely believe. I think other people need to lie. It's truly as simple as that to me. The supreme dick suck of what has Omar contributed to the pod is laughable. I'm about to break that fourth wall again.
Oh man, not again.
The supreme dick suck
Oh man, not again.
of Omar's contribution to the podcast is fucking laughable.
Oh man, not again.
I made a list in my head maybe last night. Listen, you don't have to necessarily believe it from me. I'll take my glasses off for this. You don't have to believe it from me. Plethora of employees, plethora of people who watch us that are also content creators, the hosts themselves. Look, I'm stamped in this game. I know you might not like me, but I'm stamped. I forever will be.
Oh man, not again.
I haven't been here too long, but I've made a lot of impact. And that just doesn't include here. That includes other people's platforms, whether it have gone good, bad, or indifferent. I'm stamped. What I advocate for is for people. It's never for me. I don't do things in the benefit of me. I know that sounds crazy. But the reason why those percentages on my platform look so drastic in the past, month and a half, and I've been doing content for 2 years individually, is because I've made that sacrifice on my individual work in order to put the pain in on Let's Keep It a Buck. And the pain on Let's Keep It a Buck has manifested itself in that plaque. Now, that plaque isn't on the wall, it's on the floor somewhere, but it's manifested itself into a job in which we don't have to get jobs. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Oh man, not again.
It's manifested itself into deals and whatnot. I could sit here and talk about some of the individual things that I've done. Specifically, and fuck it, I will. This is not disrespect to anybody. It's disrespectful if I lie about it. But I'm not lying about it. It's not disrespectful. If I didn't spend, we can take it all the way back. Because this is arguably the biggest, and not arguably, this is the biggest and most impactful thing that has happened since Sage and I have come on. Period. Point blank. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's a problem that people have with me. Is that I pop mine. But guess what, nigga? Call me the balloon store because I'm a pop mine. I'm a toddler. At my 5th birthday party, I'm a pop mine.
He's on fire!
We would have been on Twitch and had never switched to YouTube if I didn't beg and plead niggas for days on end, hours on end. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Before the YouTube switch, man, we were talking about, okay, who can put their own money up from their job, from their personal channel, from whatever, to fund the podcast. And we have to talk about that. If I'm lying, call me. I know at least B-Souls is watching. Call me. Call me. We were going to give a percentage to an editor of the company for editing purposes.
Oh man, not again.
That's a crazy concept. There were 3 people that were okay with that. There was 1 person who wasn't okay with that. If I'm lying, call my phone. My phone should be ringing. I know people are watching this. I know they are. I know the people in the conversation are watching this. We were going to give a percentage of the company to an editor to edit our podcast and podcast clips. I'm not even mad at the person for asking for this. I'm mad that we were willing to give up a percentage of the company in order to have an editor. That was crazy and was really actively going to do it. And once I got us off that ledge, we continued to move forward. Literally, that editor didn't stay around for more than like 2-3 months. The Shorts Initiative.
Oh man, not again.
What are we talking about right now? Why niggas think that there's no contribution from me? That's what's crazy to me. I didn't say I'm taking all the credit for Shorts. I was the first person that was bringing up Shorts. Now, when we did the whole operation of implementation, yeah, you and I was locked and loaded, baby. You and I were locked and loaded. Oh, when it was time to go ahead and like, yo, let's Operation Shorts this motherfucker out. Yeah, we put it in. Hey, I'll say we, and then it was a tag for sure. B-Souls, hey, talk about styles of editing. Talk about what they need to get. B-Souls was handling the entirety of the what would you call them? Workshops. He was handling the entirety of the workshops to teach them how to edit. I won't ever take that away from B-Souls. I'll give credit where credit is due. What I'm saying is the one that was saying, yo, we need to implement this.
Oh man, not again.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. And hey, there are other people that had other contributions in other places. Can't take that away from them either. That's for them to tell. I'm addressing the niggas that say, oh, Omar, there's zero contribution. You're off the backs of this, that, and the third. That shit don't faze me. Niggas say, you're Lowe's brother. I am. And I know you're jealous of that. That shit is nuts to me.
Oh man, not again.
That's my blood brother. You saying that, oh, you use, yeah, I use my blood brother. My blood brother uses me. What the fuck do you have a brother for if you can't use your brother? Are y'all dumb? Are y'all fucking stupid? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry that you aren't in the opportunity or the position to reap the benefits of that. I wasn't thrown into some, if you want me to call agent, like, I'll call whoever. I wasn't thrown into a small situation. I was thrown into the fire. I think niggas forget where I started. I started handling a multi-million view per week channel in AMP. In Agent's words exactly were, hey, you've got to figure it out. And the more you look at figuring it out, the better you will be at this. And we've had our back and forths and stuff like that, but I think that that's helped me come to where I am today. Definitely ask questions before and just, hey, sometimes I can't even get it. I had to bring on B-Souls because I wasn't getting it. There was some stuff that I just was not getting, period, point blank. Consulting with Toasted and B-Souls all the time. Stuff I'm not getting. For niggas to act like the work hasn't been put in, nigga, please. Break the pot into individual hoops or individual consistent segments that will be on every pod. We did this, right? Some of this stuff, I'm not gonna lie. I'll call Cruz right now. I'm not gonna lie. I invented some of this stuff on the fly. I just be saying stuff. I be saying stuff. Last minute, saying the stuff. Hey, we're gonna do Hot Take It. I remember, man, I'm about to call Cruz. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Hot Take of the Week. Something I just made up. Hot Take of the Week. Let's do it. This is my Hot Take of the Week. Start it off. Everybody got a Hot Take of the Week? What's your Hot Take of the Week? Now, Hot Take of the Week. Cool. It was going well for a little while. We have segments on the pod. Then you have Damo. I ain't gonna lie, I don't got a question of the day. I don't got a question of the week. That's it. That's it right there. We try to do this thing. It's about involvement. We have softball hot takes of the week. I'm not gonna lie, orange juice over apple juice. I really didn't have a hot take. You know what? And I want to give Sage applause here. I do want to give Sage applause here. Although he stumbled through them sometimes because he just didn't have them pulled up. Sage took time, and I thought I was the only one that was doing this. If B-Souls was doing this, he can confirm here, but I know I was doing this. Sage had a list of just hot takes, and I think I know how Sage came to these. He would live his day-to-day life, and whatever came to his mind, he would write it down. So then when it came pod time, he had a list of hot takes to go off of. He just had a list of hot takes to go off of, and then he would do it. Shouts out to Sage for that. Cruz is in the chat. Cruz, if I'm lying, say in the chat if I'm lying or not. I text Tings and Cruz randomly throughout the day. It won't even make sense. They could be talking about something else. We might not be talking about anything. I'll text them based off of something. I'll say, hey, if you got police dogs as regular dogs, you need to be thrown into jail. Cruz and Tings. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. That ends up being the hot take of the week. There it is right there. Vouch. That ends up being my hot take of the week. I'm preparing. Cruz is stupid. I'm preparing for the job that I have later on. But when we have segments and nobody's preparing for the segments, that's a crazy concept. I just think that it's an effort to do research even about stuff that you don't care about. or create the content. I think that that's something that we're away from, is creating the content. I think that that's something that we're drastically away from right now. Period, point blank. I should do a StreamYard and just try to get some people up here. I'd be willing to have a conversation with some Randeezys right now. You have to widen the window. Oh shit! Somebody just gave me a tip on playback. Pause. Yeah, I'd be willing to have the conversation right now. Should we do it via Twitter or should we do it via thing? I tell you what, I want to do